It is what it is. This weather is so bipolar.
And we are live. And I'm just going to maximize it. And then I will not touch it again. There we go. Make sure the volume is down on your phone just in case you're on the live. Yep, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. As I was explaining, I am in the process of bringing back my show on Facebook Live, but because of the whole pandemic and social distancing, I'm unable to conduct my interviews in a studio. So I'm utilizing Facebook Live on the Zoom platform. And, you know, I'm not going to say I'm tech savvy. I am somewhat tech savvy, but with this technology, I'm not quite there. So I'm doing a few test runs and I have, say hi. Are you not hearing me?
Yes. Hello everyone. Pat? Can you hear me?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey guys, can you hear me? Hey Karen, please let me know if you can hear me. Let me turn the volume up for a moment on the telephone. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, the volume is on. So yes, tell the audience who you are and what the audience, but tell the Facebook Live viewers who you are and what you do for a living.
Hi, everyone. My name is Petruska Ville Ordain. Basically, I'm a mental health therapist and a supervisor. I work for a nonprofit agency, and I provide mental health services to mental health clients. The clients usually have dual diagnosis, so it's mental health, they can have substance abuse, and we deal with all types of population. We deal with population from 18 and older. And basically, that's what I do, provide mental health services to clients in the New York City area, predominantly Queens.
So I just wanted to ask you a few questions. You know, I'm breathing in because now it's, you know, it's going to become more heavy. What advice would you offer us? And in this case, I have to say us, those of us that are home practicing, stay safe, stay home, social distancing, quarantine. It's, you know, it's something that we understand has to be done, but it's also mentally draining because you're home, you're practicing social distancing, but you have in your circle, you have many essential workers, you have other frontliners, you have someone that maybe was infected and never knew. You have a person that can't even explain how they became infected. And just on a regular basis, it's a normal part of life nowadays, unfortunately, for someone to pass away, whether they're an acquaintance or a family member. How do we deal with that? How do we deal with that?
Well, definitely, I want to say first and foremost, this is, you know, a lot of people are dealing with different emotions at this time, and it's normal. So a lot of people will be dealing with a lot of anxiety. A lot of people will be dealing with some depression, even though if you're not diagnosed with any mental health issues, but during this time, you're not used to being, you know, like a client mentioned to me, I feel like I'm in prison. Like, but we have to realize mentally that's how we feel, because in a sense, you feel scared to go outside, which is normal. And you feel, overly stressed out about the situation. So I definitely want people to understand it's going to be normal to have different emotions and different feelings because you're used to being able to get up every day, go out and about without any fear factors. You do have certain fears, but it's not something that's in the forefront of your mindset. But now with this, coronavirus, you could get it in the air, you could get it with, we're human beings. We're taught to show affection, we're taught to hug, we're taught to touch. When you meet somebody, the first thing you're supposed to do is shake hands. And, if it's somebody, of being of Caribbean descent, like you and I, who was born and raised to, greet your elders or even children greeting you, right, kiss on the cheek, kiss on the forehead, embrace each other, you give each other a hug. Now you have that fear factor, like you're afraid to give that intimacy that we're, grow up and some of us was taught to do. So definitely during this time, I definitely say, practice social distancing, practice your healthy hygiene, but definitely be mindful of making sure you have a social and healthy contact list. Now everybody's doing Zoom. Now everybody's downloading WhatsApp. There's different apps you could download. You could do FaceTime with people. You definitely want to connect with people. And if you're afraid to share your feelings, now start practicing to share your feelings. Let people know. If you know you have people in your circle that you could talk to, tell them like, today I'm not feeling great. Today I'm, feeling a little down and out. If you're able to, if you have a balcony, you have access to go get fresh air, I do suggest people, go out early, avoid people, but do go get your daily walks in, wear your mask, because physical activity is definitely will help you throughout this time with your emotions and your feelings. Definitely. And we need that, the vitamin D from the sun. We need that fresh air. So definitely go out, do a little exercise. And definitely I suggest to people create a little schedule every day. Create a schedule and try to stick to the schedule. Try to find activities to do. Don't just focus on what you said.
Something normal, something that you're accustomed to. Yeah.
Definitely. If and figure out what makes you feel good, figure out what task that's going to make you feel happy to do at home. And definitely if you get up, you like to comb your hair, you like to put makeup on, do that. Give yourself a reason. Say today, I know a lot of jobs are doing the, meetings on Zoom or using other different platform, WebEx, whatever. So definitely put the energy, put the effort to get up and do your hair. If you're into putting makeup every day, do your makeup, you put your lashes on, definitely do that. And if you're not into it and you don't know how to do it, and you're used to going to people, like definitely I'm used to going to the hair salon. And right about now, I was just telling you, Lucky, I I like you because my hair is growing out, but definitely I washed my hair on my own. It was definitely, a struggle, but it gave me something to do and it gave me a sense of appreciation, for all my hairstylists and the people that work in the industry, in the hair industry. So definitely I say create a gratitude list every day, getting up and just reminding yourself, what are you thankful for? Because I know every day going on social media, just I'm saying my deepest condolences constantly to people. Like people are calling me like such and such died. It affects you emotionally and mentally. And then especially we're not able to celebrate our loved one that the way we used to, going to a wake or funeral, getting together.
You just said something, and it's so funny because oftentimes when I interview people, it's not necessarily a situation that I can relate to personally. And in this instance, so many other questions that I'm asking are actually questions that I can refer to myself. So that's a little uninhibiting. I know that for me, I found myself, and I feel guilty, but I feel as if it's a defense mechanism. Now, to be quite honest, when I notice someone has passed away or someone, I really just go right past it on the screen on Facebook because The first couple of weeks, I literally felt myself being drained. It was draining because even if it's not someone that I know personally, it'll be someone that I know stating that they lost a sister, a mother, a coworker, a best friend, a child. And so it was as if literally every 5 or 10 minutes I was grieving someone. So now I literally just scroll right past it and I feel guilty. But
I mean, you shouldn't feel guilty. That's self-preservation. And we must, and that's setting up healthy boundaries because we have to set up limits for ourselves. We have to know like when it's too much because you don't want to overload yourself, then it's gonna escalate your symptoms, escalate your anxiety, escalate your grieving. So definitely if it's too much, you got to set up healthy boundaries. You got to set up limitations and self-preservation because it becomes too much because we're not used to, definitely hearing every day somebody that we know dying. That's not really the norm unless you live in an extremely, you know, extremely terrible neighborhood and a lot of your families live around there. But even so, it's rare to hear on a day-to-day that you're hearing somebody that you know or you had an acquaintance of or a family member or somebody you close to that you have empathy and compassion for having to deal with the death. So definitely it's a lot. It's an overload. And we do have to set up healthy boundaries and you have to set up self-preservation. So it's not something, and grief, guilt is part of the grief steps anyway. So it's one of the stages of grief. So that's normal to feel guilty. It's not something to be ashamed of or something for you to feel like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. No. I mean, in a day to day, we're being inundated with so much information. And I tell people all the time, and I tell my clients, stop watching the news. You could filter what you messages you get on your phone. So don't just keep like staring at the news constantly and constantly looking at negativity is going to bring you down.
do you find that how are your clients handling this? Being that you are actually interacting with individuals that has a diagnosis, how are they handling this?
I mean, definitely their symptoms, their emotions is on high. I have clients that have OCD, and some of their OCD stems from dealing with germs and now having to deal with this. So definitely, I'm just reminding them every day to utilize the tools and the learning coping skills that I provided them. So I always remind my clients to do mindfulness. And on YouTube, there's different videos that I always remind my clients when I'm not there to utilize, like mindfulness videos on YouTube, focusing on their deep breathing. There's all these things you can find on YouTube and they're free. So definitely focusing on mindfulness, focusing on your breathing, doing meditation, doing yoga, doing any type of physical activity. If you're in a spiritual person, I definitely say pray. Definitely this is the time we need to lean on a higher power. And definitely using positive affirmation every day, just waking up, just reminding yourself and doing gratitude lists. So that every day waking up, be like, today's going to be a great day. Today, you know what, I'm going to focus on this task.
Should a
Excuse
person
me?
literally say it out loud to themselves? This something they say because we're dealing in times where I think now we have to start to consider things that perhaps at one time we laughed off. So how does that work? Literally, the positive affirmations. But not everyone is familiar with that, or not everyone actually thought that was an option for themselves once upon a time.
I mean, it's an option for everyone. I want to reference the show Being Mary Jane. I love that show because she always had a lot of quotes. She posts them around her
All the post-its.
right, the post-its of the different quotes. So I'm definitely one for quotes. Like in my office, I have a whiteboard. Every day I post a quote for the day. So affirmations is for everyone. Every day getting up and saying to yourself, I'm enough, I'm beautiful, I'm fabulous, I'm a great person. just reminding yourself. And because sometimes we're the hardest critique. I always tell people, you versus you. Sometimes we're the most hardest on ourselves based on, our own judgment of our bodies, of our figure, of ourselves, of our intellect. So we just have to remind ourselves, like, I'm great, I'm fabulous. Today's going to be a beautiful day. You post a lot of positive quotes all the time. Also on my social media, on my business page, Top Counseling, I try to post a lot of positive quotes, affirmation, and the prayer that I always remind people to use is the serenity prayer, because it always reminds you of what is within your control and what's within outside your control. So we have to remind ourselves, what can I control? And what you can control is the way you feel and how you deal with it. So you just got to use the tools and the resources that it's available to you to make sure you take care of yourself. Self-care is very important each and every day.
Someone actually had a question. If you look at the comments, you'll see the question. And
okay, let me see, because I haven't been really checking the phone. Oh, I don't see the question.
Okay. The question is, how do you deal when people take out their frustrations on you? Now, I'm going to make an assumption about parts of her question. I know that particular person, she's Trinidadian by nationality and by ethnicity, but her race is she's Asian. But being that she's Trinidadian, she's very open-minded. She has exposure to many different races and ethnicities. But I know that based upon her outward appearance, she's been a victim of a lot of discrimination recently. So I'm thinking maybe that's why she's asking the question. What advice would you give to a person that is on the receiving end of other people's negativity and other people's negative thought process?
I definitely say don't engage in negativity with negativity. Like, especially with my clients, it's a different, I'm going to give it in two different spectrum. When I'm dealing with my clients and they give me negativity, I'm like, thank you for expressing your feelings and your emotions. So what's making you upset today? What's causing you to, lash out? And what's causing you to receive me with such frustration and anger? So definitely it's great for me when people show any emotion, because that's great for me. That's something to work with. That's something I could dig into and find out what's going on. So at least I know that person is giving me feedback, like they're not having a good day and they're not operating on their baseline. So I have to dig deeper and figure out what's going on. And sometimes I just have to hear what they're saying to try to figure out what they're trying to say that they're not directly saying to me. So I never take it personal when my clients lash out. That's great for me, because that's emotion. That's something I could work with. And definitely, in this field, we have to write notes. So that's something I could go back and write a billable note. Hey, we got to do what I got to do to get paid, right? So definitely, if I go to see a client and they're not communicating with me, they're not saying anything, they're just sitting still, that's nothing for me to work with. I could try to keep engaging them. And I'm okay with silence, because I had to learn to be okay with silence, because even with silence, they're giving you facial expressions and stuff. So I tap into that. I'm like, okay, well, you're not speaking to me, but I see you look very upset today.
But it's the opposite. She's not receiving.
Right. So I told you I was going to give it two different aspects. So definitely on a personal level, I've just learned when people are lashing out, I just learned to exit the situation. Sometimes I don't even engage in saying anything, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to say something, and then now, before you know it, you're engaged in an argument. Why am I going to give you my precious time and energy? Because obviously I don't need to meet ignorance with ignorance. I just don't. I don't have the time and energy for it. So I just walk away. But, if I'm in a good mood, I'll be like, I pray for you. God bless you. You need Jesus in your life. Like I would say, if I'm in the energy and I have that space where I'm like, okay, I can entertain this silliness, but best times is just best not to do it, because you just don't know what's the next thing they're going to say, how they're going to trigger you, and how the situation could escalate. At these times, we don't want anything to escalate. We don't want to entertain it. You don't know if this person is mentally ill or this person has not taken their medications today. This person's having a really bad day, because just one simple comment, this person could get physically violent with you. Do we want to engage in any of that? So it's just best to be, especially now, a lot of people are quick to pull out any type of weapon and attack you. It's just like, we just gotta take care of ourselves, stay safe. And what's the point of engaging? Like, what are you gaining out of the situation? What are you gaining out of it? To give them an answer? Like, what are you winning? You're not gonna, win a prize. You're not gonna get any money from it. You're just gonna emotionally just drain yourself and make yourself feel worse. So everybody's entitled to their feelings, and just keep it moving, exit.
And I actually, another question is something that happened to me the other day. I mentioned it yesterday. I live half a block from the Rite Aid. So what I've been doing is, to get some fresh air, I'll wait late night and I'll go to the Rite Aid because it's less crowded. So I went on Saturday night, and as I was in Rite Aid, this gentleman walked in. He had a bandana tied around his face and he had a hat. So literally only his eyes were showing. And for a moment, I panicked. I felt very anxious, because for a moment, my mind went to, oh my goodness, it's a stick up, it's a robbery. But then I remembered, this is the new normal. People walking around with their face covered. So, as I said, my mind realized, but how does a person deal with that? Because that is, and I think for me, growing up in New York City, though I didn't have, a hard life, quote unquote, but I did live through, the crack era. I grew up in an urban community. So I think that I'm pretty street smart. So oftentimes that does kick in, the survival instinct. So now,
Right.
how am I going to deal with that? Because if every other person I see is wearing a bandana or having their face covered, I even said to myself, I'm not going to walk to Rite Aid late anymore. Because
definitely your survivor skills kicked in. And we have to remind ourselves and keep remembering that these are the times where everybody's not going to buy a mask, because everybody's thinking, oh, this too shall pass. We're saying this too often, this too shall pass, but we have to realize this is going to be our new normal. And I read an article where they said this might last until 2022. So people just need to, because I was talking to a couple of friends, and I was saying that, like, I don't really want to wear that bandana in my face, even though I have bandanas here. I advise my husband not to wear a bandana. Just stay safe. It's just because you don't want to give any police authorities that idea that you might be a robber, so you just want to be safe. Just buy a mask. But definitely in situations like this, we just got to remind ourselves, and you got to rebalance yourself. At the moment, just breathe and say, listen, this is not a stick up. This is what's happening nowadays. We have to, some people can't afford to buy a face mask, and some people will utilize a bandana. But it's, you just got to commend yourself for having the survivor skill to say, hey, is this a safe situation am I in, or is this a situation that I have to exit? So it's, look at it as a positive. Like, you was alert, you was paying attention, and you was seeing what's happening in your surrounding. But you just got to, take a moment to breathe and rebalance yourself and say, okay, no, this is not real. This is not a stick up. This is, unfortunately, the new normal that we're living in, and I just have to adjust. We got to give ourselves time to adjust to the situation, because it's our new normal, but it's not something that we're used to doing. Some people are used to walking during flu season with masks on, and it's not usually the whole society, but some people do that. And now that we're asked, and kind of basically is the law now, to put the face mask, it's kind of uncomfortable with some people. And some people really don't want to purchase or invest in buying face masks. So we just got to remind ourselves and rebalance our thought process to say, okay, this is what's going on, and I have to just remind myself. But if you live in a pretty decent neighborhood and you know there's no crime rates happening and anything like that, I would say, okay, it's okay to walk during the night, but preferably I say walk in the morning when it's sunlight out, because you need the vitamin D anyway. You need the fresh air. Walking late at night, especially during these times, I just say avoid it. It's not the safest thing to do.
And then, can you, I just muted my mic. Okay. And another question. I know that, as I said, we as a people, certain communities, we have the attitude of we mind our business. If it doesn't affect me. And I have a friend of mine who's a police officer in Brooklyn, and he told me that he's been receiving some more calls regarding gatherings. And that surprised me because I know many people have the attitude of, you know, not reporting certain things because we mind our business. Now, I think that that's something that we have to go into ourselves and ask ourselves, is it snitching or is it actually doing something for public health? Because I know I've had discussion with certain people, and certain people are saying they would mind their business, or they'll tell me that they saw something and they'll tell me, expecting me to do something about it 2 hours later. And I asked them, why didn't you do something about it? If it bothered you, you should do something about it. But they feel as if they're not able to because of the mindset that they have. What is your advice for something like that?
I definitely say, like, you have to assess the situation. You know, if it's definitely something that's going to endanger you, endanger your community, I mean, you have to ask yourself, what kind of citizen do you want to be in society? You know, like if you notice that within your neighborhood, the crime rates is going up, you constantly, it's people are robbing people. Like, why? I don't want to live in a neighborhood like that. So, if you want to call me a snitch, then I'll be a snitch because I'd rather live in a safe neighborhood versus living in a non-safe neighborhood. So people have to understand, when you complain about what's happening in your community, how are you helping your community? So you can't, one aspect, say, oh, you don't want to be a snitch, but then you want things to get better. You have to be part of the change. You can't just sit back and expect everybody else to make changes and you're not willing to make changes. So I definitely don't call it snitching. I think it's your responsibility as a citizen, as a community member, to do your part. It's not sit back and wait for everybody else to do it and then you don't participate. It's just the same thing as, like, you know, people going to vote. They always constantly complaining about president, about poor government, but then they're not exercising their right to go vote. It just doesn't makes any sense to me. You know, so we have to know and ask ourselves, what kind of citizen do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be? Do I want to be a change agent, or do I want to just sit back and just be a complainer? I'd rather be a change agent than a complainer.
Okay, well, now we're going to get a little more heavy. I know that you are married, you have a young child, and you and your husband are both in quarantine together with your son. What advice do you have for couples? How do you still meet each other's needs, but yet meet your own mental needs, be a parent in this close environment for 3 weeks now, and God knows how much longer? What advice do you have?
Well, the advice I have, definitely, if you have the capability, because everybody, I don't know where everybody's living space is, but definitely if you have the space, you know, I would just say, if both of you are working from home, create your own little space where you both work separately, you know, from home. Because a lot of, when we was out and about going to work, you didn't see the person for a good 8 to 10 hours. So creating that space so you don't get on each other's nerves and you're not on top of each other and, you know, not being annoying to each other. So if you have the capability, you have the space, then you just discuss it with each other. Okay, well, this is going to be my workspace. The bedroom is going to be my workspace. The living room is going to be your workspace. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to, you know, there's some days y'all could be cute, have lunch together. And then there's days you just say, hey, I'm eight, whatever your work schedule normally is, I'm going to work that work schedule in the bedroom. I'm going to work that work schedule in the living room. And then continue doing your normal routines during the evening. After, what time do you normally get home? If you normally get home 6, 7 o'clock, then you start the routine that you used to create when you was having what used to be your normalcy. But definitely I say that setting up healthy boundaries, creating fun games to do together. If you don't have board games, if you can order board games, play some board games, be creative. There's a lot of different cute challenges they have for families now, doing these little challenges. Just do some fun stuff and try to get to know each other, at the end of the day. And sometimes understand, just do you. Leave them be. You do your thing, they do their thing. And then normal evening hours when you normally used to congregate and have a good time together, I say do it. But being the fact that we are quarantined together, we don't want to have a bunch of divorce rates. So let's let's create healthy boundaries, healthy space for people to breathe.
I noticed that I haven't seen your husband or your son back there. That's good. That's some respect going on.
No, but I mean, my husband works. He has to go out and about, so he's not technically home. And sometimes I have to go out and about. I have to go out in the field and stuff. So it's not like we having that traditional quarantine where we're in the house. There's days I have, because we're doing alternate days at my office where I have to go into the office physically. So there's some days I work from home. But the days I do work from home and he's off at work, I have my little corner in, my living room, my little desk, and he has the bedroom, do his thing, stay in there. And then, from time to time, like in my office, when I'm usually in the office, I'm in my office doing my work. And then I come out the office, I interact with other coworkers because you need a break from staring into the computer, doing all these, reports and stuff. So I do the same thing. When I need a break, I go in, I bother them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Even though there's nothing going on. He's he's on his phone, he's on the computer, he's messing around, they messing around. And, I'm just like, okay, let me bother them. They're not going to say nothing of importance because they're not really doing nothing. Oh, I'm just watching this movie. Okay, I'm bored, but still, I need that 5 minutes to just distract myself, walk in, stretch. And that's how we handle it. We manage it so we don't annoy each other to death. 24/7. And the kids, a lot of times the kids, once they finish doing their work, you do the homeschooling thing, which drives you crazy, and driving them crazy. A lot of kids now, you give them activities to do and they love the tablet, they love the phone. You got to you got to be a little lenient with these kids now.
How were you explaining it to him?
Explaining it to who?
Your son. How are you explaining this whole pandemic to him?
He's 4 years old. He loves being home, girl. He's 4 years old.
He doesn't want to.
I mean, it's not like, us who's really missing that social interaction. He has us. He has his family running around, playing on his tablet. At this age, these kids love the tablet. What's up? Tablet. You give them the tablet, they'll sit there all day with the tablet. You're the one that have to create schedules and time, homework and all that stuff. So he's pretty young. So it's not like he's bugging out, about the situation.
I want to run one more situation by you, and then I'm going to ask you if you can please give us your top 3 mental health surviving the pandemic coronavirus tips. So, as you know, on Sunday, there was this live concert that this Haitian band performed on social media. And a lot of people, what they did was they got dressed up as if they were watching them perform in person. So a part of me was like, oh my God, how corny. But then I have to be honest, when I started watching the different people, dressed up on social media and Instagram, showing their pictures, having drinks, it did kind of perk me up a little bit. But then another part of me was like, how corny, did they really do that? So I don't know, like,
I say right about now,
That.
be corny. Whatever brings you joy, don't worry about whatever other people are thinking. Do it because we have one life to live. Life is so short. And definitely what I'm learning from this situation, because I got affected, my husband got affected. And he got affected twice, I got affected twice. And I'm telling you, that feeling and the symptoms that you go through, it's just like, I mean, I actually broke down crying, like praying, like, God, don't do this to me. Like, please, please, please. I'm praying for healing mercies. I have a little one I need to worry about. I need to be alive to be here for him. I still have a full life to live. Like, Lord, please give me the strength to get out this bed and get well, because this is not my vision. This cannot be the end for me. So definitely after experiencing this, like, I listen, you want to judge me, you want to question how I live life, listen, that's on you, because I'm thankful I'm alive and I'm gonna live my best life. Point blank, period. I'm not here for no one to tell me, of course I'm gonna live a healthy, positive life. I'm not gonna go and be reckless, but definitely this is what we need to really, really sit and just get comfortable being you, do you, because I just spoke to my cousin the other day and she said her uncle passed away and they're still looking for the body.
What do you mean?
It's been a week.
For the body.
The hospital can have yet to provide them the body.
Oh, wow.
Because it's so overwhelmed of people dying that they don't even know which body is which. So that's a lesson. I mean, just like we just spoke about, every day, how many condolences are we writing? So we have to take the time out. And that's why I said do the gratitude list. It's like, what are you thankful for? So, I mean, the video that you're referring to, the live, it was on Saturday. I mean, I got dressed up, not
you did.
Not so pizzazz, like some people really put on ball gown, like a whole suit and whatnot. And I was like, wow, they really did it, because it was supposed to be a gala.
For days, yeah.
Right, because it was supposed to be a gala, so it was a formal gathering. So, if that, I mean, I was like, wow, they look cute. Oh, wow, they did it. I did say, the people that had the sunglasses inside the apartment, inside their house, I was like, come on, guys, that's a bit much. The glasses, like, I never subscribe to and don't understand why people wear glasses late at night, unless it's prescribed or something like that. But definitely, I'm not with the whole sunglasses at night thing. There you go. All right. Yes, girl. VIP all the way. Right. But I thought it was so cute. I got a little pizzazz. I did my hair. I put my little curls in. I sat down, I actually curled my hair and everything. I just wanted to feel good, because if I was going to the party itself, I definitely would have did my hair. I did a little, even though my eyebrows is looking rough, but I put a little, lipstick on, a little, little bronzer. I love bronzer. And I didn't do the full blown face. I'm not into the full blown caking up my face, but I did a little something, put my little earrings on and put my little cute outfit on, and just felt good. I felt like I was in the spirit. My husband and I was dancing. We had a little drink. That's what to keep the energy going with your significant other. So there's a lot of, I'm so thankful to all these artists and all these DJs that are coming on and putting on little performances and stuff like that. I'm so thankful for them, because they keeping us happy. They're keeping us, feeling good during these times. Like, we have to differentiate the week versus the weekend. During the weekend, you get pizzazz, so why not? So I thought it was cute. I thought I subscribed to it. I was okay with it. The only thing I was just like, was the sunglasses. But everything else, I thought it was beautiful. It was living their full life. And during this time, it made your endorphins. It's great feeling to know you got dressed up, you're having a good time. And some of the people actually, they posted it. So thank God they looked, a little pizzazz, because posting it on live where, thousands and thousands of people are looking at you and you in your pajamas and your robe wouldn't be too cute now.
Okay. So what are your top 3 surviving COVID virus tips?
Oh, there's so much tips to give, but definitely I say, try as closely as possible. Follow the schedule you once upon a time used to follow. If you're a person that did love working out, definitely continue working out. You need that, You definitely want to engage in eating healthy. You do not want to engage in eating very unhealthy during this time because food does affect your mood, and if you're feeling down and out and now you gain weight, you're just going to feel even more down and out. So definitely I would say, subscribe to trying to as best as possible to eat healthy. And it's definitely beneficial because they said, fruits and vegetables have the vitamins you need, they have the zinc, all this to build your immune system. So I definitely say eat healthy. I definitely say work out. Definitely, if you used to work out, definitely work out, do your stretching. I definitely suggest meditation, breathing at this time. Definitely follow self-care. That's what I would definitely say. And part of self-care for me, if it's your person like me, I get my hair done every 2 weeks. I usually get my nails, feet done every 2 weeks. Even though you can't go and do it, and I'm not in a rush to go and do it, I'm just doing it at home. I'm practicing to do it at home. I have my nails wrapped. I cut my nails all short. I cut them all off because I don't have the stress of worrying about, oh my God, my nails look horrible. I can't go get it refilled. So I just cut them all short and I just keep filing it and put clear nail polish on. I do the same thing with my feet. I have the machine. I soak my feet and I scrub it myself. I mean, I'm still trying to practice. I'm not, that great, all this. There's some people that's wonderful with doing the eyebrows and all that. I'm not experimenting with the eyebrows. I'm gonna leave that alone. Whenever we can go out and get it done, I'll get it done. But just like I said on Friday, I washed my own hair. I did the whole process. And then the next day, because my hair is extremely thick. And it was a process for me. My back was killing me. I was like, oh my God. So it was a 3-day process for me. I washed my hair one day. The next day I blow dried it. And the next day I curled it. So, I made a schedule out of it. So keep practicing self-care. Keep taking care of yourself. Don't let yourself go. Don't allow this to really put you, deeper into depression and increase your anxiety. Keep up with yourself. Take care of yourself because you have to during this time. Because if your mental stability is not strong and God forbid you get sick, you're not going to be able to power through. You're not going to be able to, push through. So you want to be mentally strong, physically strong, spiritually strong. If you're a person that goes to church every Sunday, you can now look at it online. You just got to find the positive within the negative. So definitely practice positive thinking and reframing your thought process. And I definitely say do your gratitude list because it will remind you of, I know I gave more than 3. It's just so hard to just give 3.
List?
Right. Do a gratitude list. If you're feeling very down and out and you're feeling very anxious and depressed of what's going on, write down what's within your control. What are you thankful for? What you appreciate, and write down your support system. Who are your people that are your support system, and reach out to them and have a conversation. Definitely we cannot see each other every day. We can't go out to eat. A lot of people are doing a lot of cute stuff, doing Zoom happy hour, are doing Zoom brunch. There's a different platforms, WhatsApp, doing WhatsApp calls. I've never been one to constantly be doing these face chatting, but now that's the new normal. So just, participate, don't isolate, and just remember to practice self-care all the way through.
2 last things. I just thought of something. What is your advice for the person that has the random ex that's contacting them? What is your advice for that?
Oh my God.
What do you have for them to know,
It depends on who's this random ex. If it's somebody that's extremely toxic, I say block.
No.
What happened?
Not an ex for a reason?
I mean, everybody's an ex for a reason. But part of healing is learning to deal with the situation. So definitely all my exes, I'm like, I don't have an issue with them. They're my exes. Like,
I hope you said that.
Huh?
You did say that before.
Right. I've healed from the process. Cause I mean, it depends how you enter the relationship. Like before becoming in a relationship with someone, they my friends. So I know how to process to say, okay, you good as a friend, but you was bad as a boyfriend. And then I also realized like I played a part in the situation of this person being my ex, you know. Sometimes we do participate in the shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do participate in it becoming an unhealthy situation. So it takes two to tango, and you got to know what role you played in the situation. And I just remember, okay, this person was a friend before becoming an ex, and I had to do my healing process. I had to work through my hurt, you know. Definitely once you work through it and you're able to move forward, you're an ex, you cool. If we can remain friends, if we're still in communication, great. If we're not, if I see you, we're amicable. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's life? Like, I'm married now, so I mean, I'm not thinking about you. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm trying to focus on my current situation and keeping it healthy and keeping it strong. So I don't have time to focus my energy on what was instead of focusing on what's here and now. So sometimes people don't focus on the here and now, and they focus on what could have been, should have been, and not the reality. And that's why sometimes they get caught up in slipping and sliding into the wrong direction in the wrong bed. But if you're definitely single, and I was just having that conversation with somebody else to recently, like, you know, how to date at this current time. But this is a time where definitely you get to know people. You do a lot of conversation and become friends and get to know each other. So with exes, I mean, if you did not heal from the situation and this is not somebody that you want to enter your life that's going to be a good fit for you, then block, delete. Don't allow them to enter your space again, because we're already dealing with so much emotional imbalance right now. And it's normal. All of us is going through it. Even if you're not diagnosed with the mental health issues, we're all our anxiety is on high. You know, all of us is questioning what is going to be our normal, because once you're able to finally, they say you could go out. Even today I was posting, even because, you know, Atlanta, they're opening up on Friday. I'm like, good luck with that one, because I'm going to be hibernating in my house. Even when they open, like, let's say they open the gates of New York City to say, okay, you go back out and about. You can miss me with it, because I already had it twice. Like I said, I was healed from it and got it again. So this is not something where you can say, oh, you know, you get it once and you're done. You're not going to get it again, you know? And who's to say, do I really want to run and get any vaccine? I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. Like, I don't know if I want to run and get any type of, you know, medication that they're giving. I don't know how.
That's just your personal feeling.
Right. My personal opinion. That's my fears talking right now. Because we all have our fears. That's my fears talking. Now, I'm not going to feel too, you know, like necessarily, am I going to run and go jump at the first round? No, I'm going to see how, you know, it, because everybody's bodies react differently to medication. Not every one person is going to be the same reaction. So am I necessarily going to, you know, like, so we have to assess these situations. Like, are you really willing to put yourself at risk? I know I'm not willing to put myself at risk, because I already got, like I said, sick twice already. And so I have some fears and I have some concerns and I have some questions that I want to be answered so I could feel comfortable before I say, yes, I'm going to jump 2 feet in. Am I going to be running to the hair salons? No, because if my hairstylist is doing my hair, he has to cut my hair. He has to be in my personal space. He has to be, you know, in my face. How we practice the social distancing? How we 6 feet apart? Excuse me?
He has to touch you. He has to touch you.
Right. I mean, he can't cut my hair with, I mean, I know I need a haircut, but he can't do it with gloves on. I don't feel safe with him trying to cut my hair with gloves on. Is it going to be like he used to do it with his bare hands? he has to touch me. And what people need to realize, just because somebody doesn't have the symptom doesn't mean they're not asymptomatic, and they could be passing it on. So, I mean, these are the things that we're, like, is in the thought process of a lot of people's mindset. And, you're overthinking, you're over processing, which causes you to be stressed out, and you have a little OCD about situations. Like, I'm constantly washing my hands. Like, look, I'm right next to my little space is my hand sanitizer right here. Like, I'm touching the keyboard, I'm wiping it down. It's only me touching it, and I'm constantly cleaning after myself. So necessarily speaking, do I really want to go to open spaces, open venues, parties, hair salons, nail salons? No, not just yet. I don't feel comfortable. So it's definitely normal, I say, but I'm not rushing to it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I would like you to please, in the comments section, share your social media, share some information about yourself. Pat actually is a life coach and a relationship counselor. I know that she has actually counseled a few of my girlfriends. Totally confident. Don't feel that as if, oh, she was on Sabine's show, so I can't use her. No, she's a professional. She's a professional mental health. There's so many titles, counselor. So whatever you tell her,
therapist, counselor, all that.
So though she's my friend, there's been times when I did reach out to her and she gave me professional advice. So, I appreciate her coming. If you do feel the need that you would like to talk to someone, she's going to share information with you, and I highly recommend her. She's a sister girl. She's down to earth. She can relate, but in the same token, she relates to everyone from all different ethnicities and backgrounds because she is a professional. Now I'm going to close this out with something. I thought you were going to mention this. I remember she was a guest on my show before about self-care, and you gave me some advice that I'll never forget. And you said that there are times in life when you don't have the time, unlike this pandemic, that you actually don't have the time to take an hour away, to go away for the weekend. And that what you should do is find time to have a cup of coffee and savor every sip. Have a glass of wine and savor every sip of that glass of wine, or whatever it is that brings you pleasure. Just savor it and use that opportunity to go to a place that makes you feel good.
And that's called mindfulness.
Oh,
So that's basically mindfulness practice, is savoring anything that you really love, you enjoy, just taking the time and to enjoy every spices that's in that item or whatever you're drinking to enjoy. I was watching this show on Netflix where I forgot the name of the show. The young man, his father had a restaurant and he wanted the son to become the owner, and the son wanted to be focus on winery and becoming a wine specialist. I forgot the actual name title for that, but definitely while he was learning to be a wine specialist, they actually test you on every ingredient that's in the wine. That's kind of mindfulness, where you sit and savor and enjoy. And that's, so that's basically mindfulness, sitting down. If you love to brunch, sitting down and making a breakfast and making yourself a beautiful plate, going on YouTube, finding new recipes, and actually learning how to do some of these things. If you love eating sweets, which I suggest don't, but finding the healthy way to, making the sweet that you love to eat. So just finding different things but that's definitely mindfulness. I know you're trying to wrap up, so I'm like, let me be quiet.
I remember you told me that, and I actually do practice that.
Great.
So if I have a long day, I'll force myself while my son is sleeping and before I go to sleep, I will force myself to have 20 minutes of mental health time for me, whether it's a cup of coffee, whether it's scrolling through Instagram. I just make sure I find something to take my mind away. So I thought you were going to give us that tip, but I guess nowadays.
I mean, so much tips you could give, because you could either also do journaling. So it's just so much. It's so much information. It's so much you can do. It's so much, basically I give so much different suggestions all the time to different people, but it's so much. It's so much you could practice. There's so much you could do, but definitely the practice is mindfulness. That's what it is. So if
But
you
see, when a
Google
time, that
what
time,
happened,
this is a
well, you
different.
got to create the time in the
No,
morning. I always tell people what
we didn't
happened.
have time. No, at that time,
Oh,
your advice was based upon not having time.
time, right, right. But now you have it, but if no, that's not
Now you
true.
can drink the
So
whole
I don't
bottle.
want to I don't want to minimize, the parents that's home doing homeschooling and working from home because,
That's true.
some of these jobs, and I'm speaking to a lot of people that's reaching out to me like, oh my God, I feel like I'm working more at home than I did in the office.
True,
Like
true.
my job is stressing me out even more so. So, I mean, we can't say everybody has time because like sometimes I have to remind my husband, he's like, oh, what are you doing? You're just sitting there, you're talking all day. I'm like, I'm talking to my clients, I'm checking in, I'm making sure everything is good. I'm talking to, basically making collateral calls to make sure that they are getting their medications and calling pharmacy, calling their PCP. So I'm making sure that their daily life is somewhat normal and they're getting what they need to get. They're getting the resources because some of them are elderly. They need to get food resources. So I'm calling different contacts to get, food provided to them. How can we get it delivered? So, I mean, he thinks I'm just sitting talking all day and I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting in front of the computer. I'm like, yeah, we have a bunch of meetings now. It's constantly like before when I used to be in the office, he calls me, I could talk. If I'm in the field, I could talk. But now he's like, what? I'm like, this is what I do at work. Okay. A lot of talking and a lot of computer work and Googling and stuff. So like, so some of us don't have the time.
That's
So
true.
definitely I agree. So I don't want to minimize to say
Okay.
that we have a bunch of time at home, but definitely create the time. Like today, I was talking to somebody. I'm like, oh, my alarm started going. It was like somebody's alarm beat. I'm like, oh, it's lunchtime for me. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. I put on my, I put on my phone alarm. I put my alarm for, breakfast, for lunch, for snack. I take my breaks. My watch, I have a smart watch where it tells me where I've been sitting too long. So I have to get up and stretch. So I do that. I'm still practicing these little times because I know people are like, I didn't even eat all day. I'm like, what? No, you can't do that. You would eat in the office. So definitely we can't say everybody has time, but take the time for yourself. Wake up extra early, do your meditation, do your breathing, do your little journaling, get up and get yourself freshed up. And at night when everybody's sleeping, like you said, Sabine, take that moment to just release, debrief, de-stress yourself, just relax and just focusing on breathing, focusing on meditation, focusing on praying and journaling and just savoring whatever, sweet little thing you like to, but definitely now we need to be drinking a lot of tea. So definitely at night, drink your tea, build your immune system, do what makes you feel good. So definitely create that time either in the morning, at night, and definitely schedule in your phone alarm for your lunch, for your snack, for your break. If you have a smartphone, a smart watch, those watches that tells you you've been sitting or idle too long, get up and move. Definitely invest in these things because you want to stay healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually
Well,
during this time. So thank you so much for having me,
no,
Sabine.
and thank you so much for, spur the moment, joining me. I have to tell you, I'm so fortunate that I have a network of individuals that supports me in the spur of the moment. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure they'll be seeing you again in the upcoming weeks during this situation.
Anytime. I definitely want to be an impact to my community. Like I said, what kind of citizen do you want to be? And I definitely want to, people to feel comfortable to know it's okay. Mental health, there's a big stigma behind it. And especially in our community, especially in the brown and black community, they don't believe in seeking services. They feel like it's a waste of time, but your health is your wealth. Just today I posted that on my top counseling pages that you got to invest in yourself. You're no good to anyone if you're not good to yourself. So be good to yourself, invest in your mental health. And I think everyone should, if you can, get yourself a therapist, get yourself a counselor, get yourself a life coach, get somebody that you could talk to that's neutral and that will give you the real. Because sometimes we talk to our friends and sometimes our friends are low key haters. Hey, and they don't give you good advice. I'm just saying.
Another
And sometimes your family don't give you good advice. So just make sure do what's good for you, and what's good for you is taking care of yourself and your health.
Well, thank you. I have an announcement to make. I'm going to put it on social media. Fambria is opening May 1st. You may not be excited, but I'm getting calls on a regular basis from people. Fambria is opening May 1st. For those of you who do not live in the area, Fambria is a hub in my neighborhood. It's a supermarket, and it caters to so many different ethnicities. It has the what is that? Oh God, there's a gym. I think it's oxtails. No, I can't. It has meat cut up to cater to certain cultural dishes. So I've been receiving so many calls and texts regarding Fambria, but I received word today it is opening May 1st. So spread the word. May 1st, Fambria will be opening up. I know I'll be there because that's my closest supermarket. Maybe not May 1st. To go back to what you said, maybe not May 1st, perhaps May the 5th. Let them get it together and observe and hear what other people.
Well, I hope they get it together because they don't a lot of times follow safe practices.
I think. But May 5th.
So I hope. I mean, sometimes we want to support what's in our community, but if they don't support you and don't do what's best for you, it's not a good thing to support them.
But see, the thing is, for a lot of our seniors and a lot of people that they don't drive and they don't want to take the bus, a lot of people have been very stressed out that this is the closest supermarket to them and they can't access it because it's closed.
Well, I'm a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. This is why people need to fill out their sensors. Yeah. Because filling out your sensors, they could tap into finding out what resources you need in your community, and maybe you could get a better supermarket. Because not filling out your sensors, this is the reason why sometimes we get lackluster businesses in our community that doesn't benefit us. And now we're a clutch, basically a hostage to that resource that really is not beneficial for us. So a definite, before we end, I suggest everybody strongly suggest and encourage everyone, please fill out your sensors. Your community needs it, you need it, because filling out your sensors helps to provide all types of resources that's needed in your community. Please, 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 please fill out your sensors. It only comes once.
About the census.
What happened?
I'm going to do a show on the census.
Okay. Yes.
But yes, I just wanted to say.
Just the last plug. I just want to say in Queens, the numbers are terrible for the census. So we really, really, really need to push our Queens community to fill out the census.
But through the roof.
Huh?
Census is terrible, but coronavirus numbers are through the roof. So yes. We have to have a balance.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Sabine. It was great being here. Like I said, everybody, my name is Petruska Ville Ordain, and you could follow me on Top Counseling, in which I will be posting the information on Instagram, Facebook, and definitely I'm a mental health therapist and a life coach. So thank you, everyone that's joined us, that's been here, and thank you, Sabine, for having me. I'm always here for you.
And if all goes according to plan, tomorrow night, I will be having a Dr. Marcel Benoit, who will be discussing coronavirus now and the next steps pertaining to the where do we go from here. And then tomorrow's Wednesday. On Friday, I will be having an attorney that will be talking about all of the federal programs that are available to us. What programs do we have currently, and what programs hopefully will be in the pipeline? And then on Sunday, I'm going to have an attorney on to talk about estate planning, which is very important
Important.
time. So
Yes.
please, I'll be sharing the schedule. Talk about it. Tune in. See you then. Remember, communication is key. Without communication, we have nothing but misunderstandings. My platform is your platform. If you would like to share an idea for a show, if you feel that you can get in the hot seat like Pat and would like to be a guest, please contact me. I'm open to ideas. I'm here for suggestions. If it were not for you, I would not be here. I would not have a platform. So please talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And I'll see you soon. Bye.